When it comes to Laserdiscs, I am an absolute nut. I have import box sets, I have classic movies, I have concert specials, I even have television shows on Laserdisc. I have over 150 Laserdiscs, and they take up a huge amount of space. To give you an idea, however, just how big my collection is, you see this table here that I've been working on this last couple of videos? Well, in fact, we've been doing all of these videos on top of my video disc collection. It's huge. This whole top row here is just Laserdiscs. These two pieces back here, these are Laserdiscs. These two and these four at the bottom here, well, they aren't really Laserdiscs, but they are Select-O-Vision CED cartridges. When it actually comes to records, really all I have are just a couple of albums right here in these two bins. And then for my other more specialty box sets, like say Fantasia here, they just sit here on the end because they won't actually fit into a milk crate. Now yes, we are dealing with a ton of milk crates underneath here, but Laserdiscs, records, and CEDs don't really fit properly into milk crates. They're a little bit too big. They have changed with the size a little bit over the years. I think one, because milk jugs and cartons have changed in size. The other is that I think the milk crate industry was starting to catch on to the fact that everybody was stealing their milk crates to store records and Laserdiscs in them. I really want a better way to store my Laserdiscs. Like an Autochanger or something like that. We already have that for my data tape storage, so why not for video discs? Actually, I even have libraries already for my compact discs and even my DVDs. But what is there for Laserdisc? I understand that there are 2-disc systems. They're kind of uncommon, but really 2-disc systems aren't really going to help me here unless I have 2 very favorite movies I like to constantly watch, and I'll bore all my friends to death with. I need something a little bit bigger. Did they make bigger? Like, did they make like jukeboxes or something like that? Well, let's take a look.
Well, you're damn straight at the very least Pioneer did, and my God, they made a monster. This here is the LC-V300. Not to be confused with the LC-V200 or V100, which are also Laserdisc Autochangers. This 4-foot tall, 72-disc, 200-pound monster is the answer that Pioneer had to an Autochanger. This is definitely not a consumer product. This is designed for commercial applications. This particular unit here, if we go around to the side, you immediately see, blaring off the side of it, Laser Karaoke. And the idea for this model here is that you would have all your karaoke equipment sitting on top, you'd have all your lasers sitting down below, and you can just kind of roll this thing around. It actually rolls really well on these nice little tiny wheels, thankfully. And you can go from room to room, and you'd have a little all-in-one karaoke system, instead of having to fumble with VHS tapes or lyric sheets or very custom applications to get something to, well, work out for a karaoke bar. Now, there's also a version of this available as well, which doesn't have the window, and it's devoid of just about all branding on it. And these ones here are supposedly designed for even more commercial applications in the cable TV and broadcast world. I guess if you receive, like, your television episodes on Laserdisc, I guess that's one way you can queue it up. But anyways, let's talk about this model here, and how I got it. And the first thing you'll see when you look in the top here is it was as-is $350 American, or best offer. Now, I was not going to pay $350 for this thing because of, well, we're missing something. And you can see it by these little indents here, which is supposed to be placed on top, and that is the actual karaoke equipment. I don't care much for the amplifier or any of that jazz, but this here, if you watch the YouTube video on the LC-V100, is missing something. There's no panel here for me to control the thing with. This thing here has practically no manual controls at all. And if we go around to the back of the unit here, we'll notice right next to our composite video and 2 RCA jacks for left and right audio, this is the only other interface we have to Commander a 25-pin port. This is not serial. And I know it's not serial because, thankfully, silkscreen to the back of this connector is the pinout. And that's it right here. But anyways, even for that LC-V100 YouTube video, you can clearly see there's some sort of control box right next to it. And even Pioneer has a fantastic little video which shows this product off. and it looks like the size of a small compact or a small component stereo CD system or something like that. Couple of buttons, specifies which side you want, and a load button. That seems to be all it is in a nutshell. There's a couple other features there, but I'm missing it on this unit here. I wasn't going to pay $350 for a piece of equipment that supposedly worked but didn't have the controller on it. So I paid no, I'm sorry, that was per unit. I paid $330 for 2 of them. And I said 2 of them, but I only have one here. And that is because the other one is currently sitting in Seattle. But I got a hell of a much better deal on that. It was about, again, $330. I was able to get one loaded into the car, which, to give you an idea, is not all that much. I had to take the back seat out of the car just to transport this thing from Seattle. And here we are. And of course, the first thing we discovered when we got home was that you plugged it in and it didn't do a thing. So, work my ass. But let's take a look around it now. So, I think we've already seen the side here. Laser, karaoke, blah. We know what the back is. We've got this nice little handrail here which is bolted in, so it actually rolls around pretty nicely. Our only connectors are right there. And on the front of it here, we have this status indicator lamp here. And down here, this beautiful Pioneer logo and Autochanger system, 12 inches, digital sound. Now, I'm kind of a little confused on the digital sound aspect there. Is it decoding the digital audio track and giving you analog out? Or am I missing the digital audio port here where it's either one of those orange RCA jacks or it's one of the Toslink optical? Whatever. But anyways, otherwise all you're left with is this glass, not plastic, glass door and these latches for the door here. Now, this is a lockable door here as well. You can put a hex tool in there and twist it and it'll lock it. Otherwise, just pull this down and it releases. Same down at the bottom here. And it releases and it swings open. And it's also interlocked here. When this goes in, it hits a switch that's just up here. But otherwise, you're left with the transport mechanism and all the laser discs. Now, these are your only manual controls up here, and this just moves the transport mechanism up and down. This is a very heavy device. What you're actually looking at here are 2 Laserdisc players. One, and then a second one on top with a common spindle. And that's what plays sides A and sides B, instead of the usual flipping the optical assembly around to do both sides of the disc. Up here, hidden in the corner, is a giant black painted counterweight, which is throwing off the iris on my camera. And that's how it's able to more easily lift up and down using the motor assembly in the back there that uses this belt to get up and down. These notches here are the timing lines for each numbered Laserdisc, which would be in here. And again, we go from 1 down to 72, which is way the hell down there. The idea is that the player would raise up to where you need to go, which disc you want. And let's say disc 20. It would push this white tab inwards, which releases the tray. An arm will then pull the rest of the cartridge out completely and load it into the player. And this is a piece of plastic. It's got a couple of holes here for indicating whether or not it has a regular 12-inch or one of the smaller laser discs loaded into it. This is a region device. And this unit here will do NTSC, but apparently there are PAL versions. If you look way the hell down here, this was manufactured May 1992. And this is the transport screw down here. And this is something you really got to keep an eye on, because otherwise you'll have this flat thrashing around. Push it in, turn it clockwise, and it'll lock. When you're done transporting it, turn it counterclockwise, and it's spring-loaded. It'll pop back out, and it's ready to go. But anyways, these trays here, they are removable. And unfortunately, mine came with no discs in it, so I have plenty of space to load up all of my movies. And it just fits in there. There is more to this machine, however, and it's hidden behind this panel. There's 2 screws, 1, 2, which should be in place, but for this video I've taken them out. If I pull and pull away, you're given the more hands-on, more electronic section of the machine. Top board here, that I can tell from the service manual without actually buying the service manual for this thing, is the digital audio conversion board. The board below it here is the CPU control board for the unit, and this is likely the CPU right here with mask ROM. We do have a large bank of LEDs up here and 2 buttons. And there's also a jumper here and another jumper that's hidden away underneath here. But without having to go to the service manual, on our metal panel, if I flip it over, boom! Pioneer left us with a list of what the hell everything those buttons and LEDs will indicate to us or do, which is kind of nice. But it's all hidden behind here. These are the 2 white ribbon cables which link over to the Laserdisc transport, and these just kind of flex around while you're moving. And then down here we have our power supply, and this is finally where I discovered where our problem with no power came from. This 5 amp fuse right here is blown. Why is it blown? I haven't done enough troubleshooting yet to figure out why. There's an hours meter up here, and it's just past the 0 mark, so this thing has seen very little use, which is kind of nice, so it's almost brand new. And hidden away down underneath there is the motor driver control for raising and lowering the transports. And that's about all there is to it. There's no other controls, there's no other mechanisms to this. It's literally just one robotic transport inside a very heavy metal and particle board wood case. And this is my solution to better storing my Laserdiscs, because with 2 machines, I can have one on one side of my couch and another one on the opposite side of the couch. You put a plank over top of it, so now you have a nice table to be doing your YouTube videos on, of course. And in the middle here, I still have space for my CED video discs and my records. And because these are only 72 each, so that means 144 total, and I have probably about 150, 155, possibly including duplicates there. Just have a little extra bit of extra space there for those discs, my box set discs, and a 3rd Laserdisc player, so that I can more selectively use the traditional way, or have the usual, or use the more advanced features of Laserdisc like frame selection and slowdown and so forth, right there from behind my couch. And how do you do that also? Well, you also need good video cable for it, which is why de-installed video cable used for overhead projectors from universities and schools are fantastic for that, because you get these nice long cables. But in the meantime, unfortunately, I'm just going to load it full of my discs, because with no controller, not a whole hell of a lot I can do. And what is that controller, by the way? Is there a part number? Yes. In this case here, it would be the CV300. Now this thing seems to be almost non-existent on YouTube, or not YouTube, I'm sorry, on the internet. So there's really no information regarding protocols or what kind of standard this thing uses to interface. It's definitely not RS-232. We already went over that. And they're just about impossible to find parts for. In fact, just to give you an idea, like how rare would it be to find an Autochanger system like this? Well, this is the first time I've ever heard of it. And I've been messing with Laserdiscs for over 10 years now. So that just gives you an idea of just how uncommon they were, or at least unknown to me. Finding another one? Well, there's one on eBay as of this video, which is a bit more rough condition. Quote-unquote power cord not included, but it's a hardwired device on these here, so either it's just a template eBay listing, or someone's actually cut the cable off the damn changer. Again, no controller, but he wants $630. Now, I'm assuming that's where the awful price for this came from, because according to Terapeak, these things here are still worth hundreds of bucks. The question is, where the hell are they getting those numbers from? Because I can find no successfully sold listings to indicate these things are selling for that much money. But cool. Laserdisc Autochanger. Man, this is going to be fun to play with. But I'm going to go play with it right now. Till later. See you next time.